Oh, my beautiful carpet. It's got a hole. Hi everyone, today we're going to be fitting frame rails to my car, Mary. So it's pretty bad under here, as you saw in the last few episodes. It's been really smashed in the past. I don't know what has gone on, but somebody has had a real joy running over some speed bumps or something, because they are a mess. I have been around them already and tried to straighten them out, but I've just test fitted one of the rails, and to be honest, it is still pretty hard to get them on. It's spreading the rail a little bit, so I want to be sure that when I put them on that they just slip straight on. Of course, fitting the SkidNation frame rails should give me hopefully a performance benefit. It should stiffen up the car that little bit. First things first is I'm going to crack out the wood, I'm going to get out the hammer, and I'm going to straighten these out a little bit more. Once I've done that, I'm going to show you drilling it and fitting them all up, so come with me. So that was pretty brutal, to be honest, but it has done the trick. I can now just slip that frame rail on. I'm much happier about that. I didn't really want it spreading. There was just something about it that wasn't sitting quite right with me. On the flip side, however, it has damaged my beautifully undercoated Ward underside. But I mean, that was to be expected with the force that I was hitting that with. I'm just going to chuck a little bit of Ward back over that now before I actually fix those on permanently. It should have enough time just to start going off before we bolt it all up. So I'm not worried about that. I don't think it will matter too much. But that is one side nice and straight. Now I need to do this side. So that side took a little bit more of a beating to get into place. That's the first time I've actually attacked that side. I did the passenger side in the previous video. So that also meant that actually when I was hammering it this time, that the underseal has fared a little worse, which is a bit of a shame, but you know, not too much of a bother really. I'll just go back over it. What I definitely found out was in order to get that frame rail towards the back of the car, it really helps to start at the front and get it kind of in place and then slide it back. Where these pipes all bend, that makes it really, really tough. They just don't want to flex out of the way. So start at the front, slide it back, super easy. So now I'm going to cheat, I think, and probably use a transmission jack to hold the frame rail up and drill it in place. We have done it on the driveway in the past, so it's not too much of a problem if you're doing it on your own, or if you've got a couple of friends to help. It is possible. Yeah, we've been there. But yeah, time to start drilling holes in the bottom of my car. So you can't really get the placement of this wrong. You can see that where the cutaway is here, it forms right around the underside of the car, and then it butts up right to where the front starts folding, so it's super easy to get them in the right place. You really can't muck it up. Here goes nothing. I should actually mention, you really need to remove your interior before you do this. Because of the state that the car's in, I have already been through, all the seats are out, but yeah, just that could have ended pretty badly if I hadn't taken the carpet out. I'm starting off with a 5mm bit, I think I'm using, and then we'll go up to probably an 8.5 afterwards, so that it's big enough to get an M8 bolt through. Yeah, let's get them all done. Okay, so that's all the pilot holes done. Time to swap it out for an 8mm, 8.5 or 9, depending on what's in the box of drill bits, and get it ready for permanent install. So I actually did have an 8.5mm, which just means that the M8 bolts are going to slip straight in. Oh, it's hot. Not quite as hot as weld, mind you. So that's all done. That's all drilled out. I'm just going to pull the frame rail back off and throw some war on it to protect it. Just the next side to do. Oh, now I need my drill bit. I don't know where I put my 5mm. Obviously. This is like an insight into what it's actually like. Oh, I put it back. The real reason I'm using a 5mm is because that's the smallest one that I've got, because I've broken all the rest. I think we'll start on the easy side. That doesn't involve drilling in between fuel lines. Well, I think we'll leave that to the last moment. Oh, it's right on a join. Do you know what I haven't done this side? As I haven't lifted the carpet. Oh, my beautiful carpet. It's got a hole. The worst bit about having drilled through the carpet is that I went and got button heads, so I didn't make holes in my carpet, because the hex heads can wear through. And because it's an early model, it's got really plush carpet, for an MX-5 anyway. Like, even though that the late ones, like the 2000, or like Mark 2.5s, even though they're high spec and stuff, and they have, you know, all these fancy diffs and VVT and all that nonsense, you know, inferior 1.8s. They have carpet that's like paper, rubbish. It's all about the 1.6 plush carpet, 1990 life. So that's both sides done. Wasn't too hard actually, especially I should have listened to James and taken that clip off earlier, especially when getting the 8mm bit in there. Just a little bit too close for comfort, but with it out of the way, there's loads of room. All I need to do now is undercoat it, and that will then be ready to install these permanently. We're going to go up the top and just deburr it and use some primer just to make sure that they don't rust in the future. If I get this on my jumper, I'm going to be gutted. That wasn't too hard at all, especially with the lift. Although actually, even if you're on jack stands and axle stands, then you would be able to still reach around and do it. So even on your own, it's not that bad of a job. What we are going to do is drill out the frame rails and the floor for a harness hole for the eye bolts. So I really should be fitting 6-point harnesses in this. I've had 4 points in it for ages. That's not really the best route to go. If I get in an accident, there could be, you know, pretty bad organ damage when you submarine, especially my seat as well. It has a really low, like very little thigh support. So yeah, I could really see myself slipping out. So let's get round to doing the other side. The best thing to do, I think, is probably try and whip those off with a grinder, and then I guess we could hit it with a file just to make sure that they're completely flat. So really I could have done with 15, well probably not 15, I don't think it would have come quite the way through the nylon of the nylock nut. But yeah, certainly a 20mm would have been far more appropriate. But whilst the interior is out of my car, I'm going to take the opportunity to fit some eye bolts for some new 6-point harnesses. I've already moved all of the fuel lines out of the way, so I know that when I drill through the top that I'm not going to be hitting anything, I'm not going to be causing myself any major problems. James has done that in the past and it is definitely not recommended, so everything's out of the way. I've got a clear path to drill straight through it. What I've already done is I've marked out where I'm going to put those eye bolts. My seat is a little bit further back than some of the other guys, so we normally just drill out some existing holes in the frame rails, but in this instance that's not going to work for me because of the seat that I've got and where the seat ends up in the car. The substraps will be far too far forward, so that substrap wants to be 10 to 20 degrees behind the chest line of the driver. So everything's already marked out, and I'm now going to smash a drill bit through it. So that's another job done. I am so happy about how that went. The frame rails are really well designed. It's super easy to see where they need to go underneath the car. And even though that my original frame rails were beaten to hell, they were super easy just to smash back into place like a block of wood and a big hammer, took care of them. Yes, it would have been nice to replace them, but you know, that to me is the easier install and hopefully should give me some additional stiffness as well. I will let you know exactly how they feel as soon as it's been out on the road. Now, the next episode is going to have something really exciting. We're going to be preparing and painting this car. The color that we have chosen is insane, so you guys are in for a real treat with that one. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe on this video. We really appreciate all your feedback. Let us know if there was anything else that we should have done differently. Also, if you need any parts for your Mazda MX-5, go to boffyracing.co.uk. We've got loads of stuff and we love hearing what you guys are building. So see you next time. When lockdown's over, I think it's probably time for a new wardrobe. I think that's it.